Thank you, guys.
Okay, you're live.
Thank you. Today is February 20th. This is the Charles County Delegation meeting. Welcome to everyone. You have already received a copy of the agenda. You have a copy of the status of the 3 Charles County bills that we put forward, and we have a guest presentation from Vincent Harrington. If there are no other questions, I would like to turn the floor over to Mr. Harrington.
Awesome. Bless you. Thank you. If I can maybe share my screen and go from there.
Ari, can you arrange that?
Yes.
All right. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
You're
All right.
good.
Awesome. Again, happy Friday, everybody. Good morning. Vincent Harrington, the director of our Young Men and Boys Initiative, Partnerships and Engagement. I'm excited for this new role. I've been in it for about 3 months now, transitioning off of the governor's team as his deputy director of operations and executive aide. I've been with Governor Moore now for 5 years, first starting off as his political director. And so very excited to lead this effort, very close to the governor's heart, from his military service, dealing with young men, to being the CEO of the Robin Hood Foundation. What we're doing in the governor's office for children has a direct intersect for our youth, and looking to make sure that they excel within everything that they do. And so we're looking at this as a 5-year strategic plan. Governor Moore is in his last year of his first term, and God willing, he's reelected in November. And so we'll have another 4 years of this initiative. And so we've really been able to pull on a number of dynamics, 3 main pillars, which I'll talk to you guys about, but excited to be able to work in partnership to be able to get this effort done. Mr. Moore currently right now is in DC as he's the vice chair of the National Governors Association. And so we look to allow for Maryland to really be a pilot, similar to what we've done within our Enough grant. Similar to what we've done as the first state to have a service year option for our high school seniors graduating. And so being the first state to have a Young Men and Boys initiative to this level, we're very excited about. And so as American Miniature, with our 6.2 million people in Maryland, we look to be able to showcase the diversity that we have within our Young Men and Boys, create fairness across our 24 jurisdictions, engage, uplift, and empower them to be the best young men and boys that they can be. Within the initiative, that is birth to 34, as it stands within the Young Men and Boys initiative in terms of our focus. In the why, as it relates to this time and this work, we've seen, unfortunately, just the number of self-harm that occurs, unfortunately, for our young men and boys, 4 times the rate of our girls. And even when our boys are having these suicidal ideologies, they're reporting 50% less. We've seen education barriers in relations to underemployment for our boys since 2003 up until 2024. We've seen steady decreases in terms of engagement and unemployment with our boys, as well as naturally, as a Black man, we've seen within our studies there's a number of inequities as it relates to our young men and boys of color that we look to address. So the mental health stigma as it relates to not reporting, to feeling ailments and not seeking help, as well as just some lack of integration as it relates to unearthing these opportunities and resources that we have in the state, is something that we look to be able to fulfill. So our 3 pillars of focus is mental and physical health, engaged in their families and local communities, and prepared to compete in a dynamic economy. And we're pulling these through lines through our state plan. So we're aligned with our secretaries as it relates to their work, and really tethering and adding a young men and boys lens to some of the things that are going on currently in the state. And so within this, there's a number of downstreams that will be focused on in the initiative as well. Fiscal wellness, supports for our young men and boys in the LGBTQA plus community, supports for those who are re-entering and recidivism into the community, and just a number of other functions that allow for our young men and boys to be successful. When we started this, because our office, we have an expansive office within the governor's office for children, but a number of my colleagues are focused on different tasks, racial wealth gap, child poverty, and the like. And so for myself, it's me and another one of my colleagues, Patrick Burke, who is a fellow from the American Institutes of Boys and Men. And so a function of what we've been able to do is kind of seek advisory counsel from a number of individuals to be able to help us with this framework, and have some strategic guidance as it relates to us moving forward. So appreciate these individuals for being able to assist to this point as we've been able to kind of set up the initiative. An example of one of the campaigns that we'll be doing is in relations to targeted awareness. Social media is a great asset, but we know that there's a number of different things that can create for negative and harmful content. And so digital literacy is one of those things that we look to be able to implore. We'll be doing an event in March with the First Lady around mental health and tech, in partnership with the Child Mind Institute, and some other partners that we'll be able to announce at that event, to be able to encourage our young people to not be so indulgent as it relates to social media, but certainly being able to make sure that their mental health is well. And so that'll be something that we continue throughout the year. This initiative is one that is currently not funded from the General Assembly. And so a function of that is engagement on my behalf to corporations and foundations to be able to support this efforts as we want to be able to help scale organizations in the state. And so the first interaction that we had was with the American Institutes for Research. They pledged $6 million to this initiative to be able to help us not only with research and convening expertise, but set up community practices around the state, assist us as it relates to expansion, and also serve as a third-party independent function as they celebrate 80 years this year to be able to be a validator to organizations that we present to philanthropy as it relates to funding. And so we're excited to be able to use that model. March is really where we're going to get active as it relates to reaching out to philanthropy to be able to get additional dollars in. Workforce and career paths, whether right or wrong, men are kind of socialized as providers. In the moment we can't provide for ourselves or for our families, a lot of things can go left. And so one of the main components that we're tracking is just real pathways and sustainability in careers for our young men and boys, and making sure that we're able to present those options to them in partnership. This is what the American Institutes of Research is helping set up, and that is the function of being able to dive into the community. We have 4 territories that we will be advancing within our 3-year MOU with them. We're starting in Prince George and Montgomery County, and then expanding to Baltimore City and the Eastern Shore. Those developments in those territories don't limit to us not wishing and having a desire to go to the all 24 jurisdictions. However, just with the function of that partnership with AR, that's where we're starting. And so they're just making sure that we're looking to meet our expected outcomes as it relates to this Young Men and Boys initiative. It really starts with us at home and within the community. And so assuring that we have mapping and assessments done so that we can be able to meet in the community regularly. Talked about this being a 5-year strategic plan. However, we're looking to implement within a finite standpoint. How can we have successes this year, next year, and really be able to launch in a way where the community understands that both internally that Maryland is a state that sees our young men and boys, but then also nationally that's the case. And so this model here is just making sure that we're kind of holding ourselves accountable to certain metrics and key actions within our stages of development to make sure that we're hitting our milestones. Here is just, and this is where I'll conclude and kind of go into the assistance that we'll look to get from this district as well as all others across the state within partnership. This engagement model is just kind of a drumbeat of what we'll have the governor as well as the First Lady and Lieutenant Governor participate on. Most recently in his CBS town hall interview, he took a question from Curtis Valentine about education and young men and boys, and was really able to elevate some of the work that we're doing currently. And so we're excited as we go throughout this year. We'll have our culmination and capstone event doing a Young Men and Boys Summit in October. But through the year, we'll be releasing things that allow for our young men and boys to have a 365 touch point. And so because I don't want to undercut some of the announcements that we have for the governor, I'll leave that there. But nevertheless, we have and are excited about some of the partnerships that we have to create statewide coverage. So within each pillar that we have. We have both our partners within state as well as in terms of state, I mean, our different agencies as well as our other partners that will be facilitating in a streamline. Young men and boys can see it, our guardians can come and see it and assist them to be able to make sure that they're getting everything that they need. So we're excited for it. We have a strategic plan as it relates to outreach, and we look to kind of run the same model that we did as it related to the campaign. Before Governor Moore was elected, respectfully, not a lot of people in Maryland knew who he was outside of those who are avid readers or just, aware of philanthropy. And so we look to be able to run that same playbook in terms of having, our places of worship, our unions, police and fire, our elected officials, everybody be able to press go at the same time. And so there'll be future communications from our office in relations to that outreach strategy, different comms, things that we have both tangible as well as digital, to be able to make sure that the community knows. And then additionally, in partnership with the state troopers, looking to be able to leverage their ability to put up different signage as well to promote the initiative. So really just running this as if this was, someone running for governor, and making sure everybody is fully aware and leveraging all the resources that we have. So bless you guys, appreciate it. And again, happy birthday to Delegate Wilson.
Thank you so much. Are there questions? I am really excited about it, and I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How can we help?
So because we're recording again, I don't want to, and I can maybe follow up with you in email offline. I don't want to undercut something special that we're preparing in terms of a launch, but again, a 365, 24/7 touch is what we're working on right now for our young men and boys, so that after a moment like this, I'll say you would be able to send a young man and boy to something for them to be able to get provisions into resources. And so we're excited for that moment. And you can build out tools and models, but if people don't know about it, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So there's an engagement function to this that at the highest level we'll need your assistance and partnership with. And then we can kind of talk about that's the floor. And then we can talk about the movement in terms of, you have, for example, mentor organizations that are, very specific to a region. And we can talk about how we want to be able to incorporate everybody into that tool. But I don't want to again divulge too much, if you will. But there's definitely partnership necessary within everybody on this call.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
I
Ms.
don't
Patterson.
see
I
any.
have a hand up.
Go
I
ahead.
want to say, Vincent, thank you very much. And I think my colleagues will know what I'm going to ask. I'm really concerned about Southern Maryland, the rural boys. We've had some issues with suicide prevention, etc. So what we can do is to sort of compile the organizations that are currently working in Southern Maryland, so that when we're ready to add them on, you will have that resource or that information as well. There are many
That'd be a blessing.
fraternities and other groups that are doing this.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Anything from you, Delegate Odom?
Not in particular, but I've gained a lot, and I would like to get engaged once the program is fully launched, and
Yes, sir.
we can be aware how we can help and add value.
Thank you.
Okay. If that's it for Mr. Harrington, we're going to move on. And Ari, you're just going to update us on district night.
District night, yes. So we have confirmed the Reginald Lewis Museum. They will be in attendance, and then we will also have the Maryland National Heritage also present to talk more about their passport program. I will be sending out the slideshow of individuals who sent in their pictures or uploaded them to the Google Drive. So I'll be sending out the slideshow today before 5 o'clock. And then I'll also be sending out email confirmations to all individuals that have registered for our district night and provide them with an update on the bus transportation. And that's everything for district night.
What are the numbers?
Numbers right now is for our district night for our senior sit-in chat, we're at 25. And then our numbers for our district night taking place from 6 to 8 p.m. is maxed out at 75.
Okay. I believe Senator Ellis was going to help with the bus. Anything on that?
No, not at this moment.
Okay. Any questions? If I can't see hands, so If you have a question, let me know.
No, I'm good.
Okay. No need to stay on longer than we have to. If there are no questions, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Mr. Odom has the second.
All right, thank you so much. See you guys next meeting, March 6th. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.